Mariana, welcome to Fit and Focused for Remote Work and Digital Nomads podcast here in Playa del Carmen, 570 Studio.
Thank
So
you.
so
Thank you
happy
for
to see you.
inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, I was so excited, to invite you to the podcast because when I learned what you do, I get curious because I didn't really know what you did and how you do it exactly, right? And you are an ASTRO coach, and we're gonna talk a lot about it on this podcast. So for our listeners who don't see our video, if you don't know what ASTRO Coach does, you are about to find out. So very happy to have you on the podcast to learn from you, and also to learn about your nomadic journey, how you maintain it, at a higher level as a ASTRO Coach. So thank you for being here. And the first question: how did you end up here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico?
That's a very interesting story. So I actually came here when I was a child as like vacations, like a lot of people do, like they come for vacation. But I never expected to live here, not in my dreams ever, until the end of 2020, where I was in Lima, and everywhere we had like lockdowns, and a friend of mine was moving here, and he told me, hey, here like life is a little bit better, things are a little bit more free, and I was kind of like feeling a little bit sick and almost depressed of being like in my apartment, like all restrained.
And that's where was your apartment?
It was in Lima, Peru. And as a nomad, I was feeling very sad after a year of not traveling anywhere, right? And my friend invited me, and he said, why don't you come 2 weeks, see how it is, and then figure it out. And I was like, yeah, I don't have anything to lose, and let's go for the adventure. So I came here, and when I arrived, I really loved the place. I met my friend, that then he became my partner, so we moved together, and now we are having a life here, and it's amazing. I think it's one of the best places in the world to be right now. At least that's my experience.
That's a strong sentence. One of the best places in the world. Like, what makes it the best places in the world?
Well, I think, and I have been traveling a bit in the last months too. I have been in New York, I have been in Buenos Aires, I have been in Lima again too. But I think here I have this very beautiful and powerful combination of having this combination of cultures. Like we have people from all over the world here. My natal language is Spanish, but I speak English most of the time here. So I have this opportunity to practice my English and to know people from all over the world. But at the same time, it feels like a small city. So you have all this relaxed lifestyle that doesn't come in big cities, when you have all this stress and things are always like moving, especially in these times that are so like stressful for many reasons in every country, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what I also, found here. Like, it's kind of global. You see all of these people from around the world that come to you. You don't have to travel to all these countries. You can learn from them. But at the same time, it's very, what I like to, call manageable. Like, you don't have to think about so many things you can be doing, you should be doing. You just, can focus on your work. You just go to the beach sometimes. Sometimes you go and see other places, and you can really focus on your work, on your passion, on what it is you want to do.
Completely. And I agree 100% with that. And I think for persons that work for themselves, like you and me, that's very important, because big cities have this amazing and exciting vibe, but they also can bring a lot of FOMO. Like, I don't want to miss anything. I want to be everywhere. No? And also, there's like too much stimulus. And here, although there's a lot of things to do too, you have the ocean, you have nature, you have the jungle, and you can just relax and be and work on your thing without so much stress of being everywhere. And I think that's a very beautiful thing of living here. I really like it.
Yeah. And you also mentioned for the listeners also to kind of learn more about the place. it feels like there is no pandemic here, right? Like, for
Yes.
exception with some places where you have to like maybe put on
Yeah.
mask, it doesn't feel at all like we are going
Yeah,
through some.
I personally appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, makes
Yes.
you feel like kind of human. It's
Yes,
normal.
you can see people's faces, yes, and smiles. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes, what's funny? I see people wearing masks. I'm like, newcomer.
Completely, yes. Or no, but I mean, I think it's very personal. I don't judge anybody,
Yeah.
but I like, at this point, here, after living here almost like a year and a half, I feel like very free and very open, just showing my face to people.
Yeah. But it also, like I go to the gym and sometimes people like, you see, they wear a mask at the beginning, but then they see other people not wearing anything. They're like,
That's very interesting for like how social works, right? Because in other places it's the contrary. Like you go and you feel free, and then you see everybody like, oh, I don't want them to feel uncomfortable, so I'm gonna wear it. And yeah, it's like
the other.
Yeah.
I want to get back to, the focus, that we felt here while being here, right? I think without it, if you are an entrepreneur, a person who works for yourself, for your business, for your creative project, I think that's one of the most important things, right? To have that like something, your thing, and to know what it is, and to be able to focus on that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You mean like the passion that you have, like the purpose, or
I'm sorry. I mean, to have that clarity about the thing that you want to do.
yes,
Like, if you want to live this, nomadic lifestyle, being your own person, right? Having your own thing. Like, if you don't have that clarity, I think it's going to be extra hard to live this flexible, nomadic lifestyle.
Yes, for sure. I think you have to have at least step one figured out. It's not like you just like leave your job and leave your country and go jump, I don't know, to Bali and don't know like what to do or how are you gonna make money off. I think there are many different ways and unique ways of doing this. I don't think there's one good, like, perfect way of being a digital nomad. But what I do think is that you have to have this drive for freedom and this commitment with freedom, which is actually more important, commitment. Because if not, when bad things happen, and I assure you, challenges are going to come, you're going to fall off because you're going to feel unsafe, uncertainty, anxiety, and all of those things. If you don't have something to hold on, if you don't have a purpose, a commitment, clarity, a vision, it's much more difficult to endure those and to not like fall off and go back to your traditional life. And I do think that's very important. I don't know if you have to be 100% clear of how it's going to end, because life shows us that things we plan things one way and then they end up as another, and I think that's a beautiful journey too, that just to be open to what happens, but yes, to be committed with your freedom, with your purpose, with whatever makes you want to live that lifestyle that you don't like anymore, and go out and like go to the adventure. Yes.
You actually, while you were talking, I had this picture in my mind of a ship that sails, but it needs an anchor, right? Some sort. For some people, it's their home, it's their base, like their physical location. And for us, I think it's something different. It's like, the meaning that you feel in life. And I believe, people who can't do it long term, this, nomadic lifestyle, just don't have it. And that's why they feel like, if they just leave everything, like they have no anchor and they'll just gonna float.
I try to figure it because I consider myself a person who actually likes the stability. I'm not a person who, from where I started when I was a kid, I always liked to just be in unfamiliar places. I'm not like super extroverted neither. I'm just like very like calm. But I think that part of what helped me to start this life was when I was traveling and things weren't going the way I planned it to be. I learned so much, like from that surrender, from that moment of just co-creating with life as it goes. You learn so much, and you find parts of yourself that you didn't know. And I think that people who don't do that, they don't know that can happen. So I will always recommend people who want to start the nomad life to first start doing like step by step. Maybe you just go from one trip by yourself to a place that you've never been, and don't make much plans. You don't book a tour or anything. Just go, leave. And you're going to have such an amazing adventure and have such an amazing discovery of who you are that you're going to want to do more. And eventually, you're probably going to have all the drive to go and actually do a lifestyle out of that. I think that's a good way to start, too.
Yeah. I think, it's a very important thing that you also mentioned. Like, you don't have to have it all figured out. Again, sometimes you watch people's videos about like, or I'm a digital nomad and I have like my investments and second citizenship, like many businesses and properties,
Well, they're lucky ones.
And sometimes but that's who gets popular. And people are like, I don't have all of that. I can't live in digital nomad lifestyle. It's just for rich people or something like that.
It is not.
And that's what I'm trying to say.
No. I think it's amazing if you have the resources, go and do it. But I think most of the people don't start like that. And I think that, as I said, part of the reason why you start this lifestyle is because you are willing to surrender all the time to the unknown. And of course, you're going to create a structure. We're going to talk about that structure, discipline. You have to have like some boundaries, of course, but also to be able to just be open to what life brings you. And that's a beautiful way of living, because you find out that life always meets you in the middle. Like sometimes you feel, oh no, everything, like the plane was canceled, or you didn't book your hotel right, or the place where you go doesn't have internet, and you always find a way. Like miracles happen all the time, and you feel so blessed. And it's really, I think, is an spiritual adventure too. Like you practice a lot of faith within yourself and practice a faith in life in general. And that's for me, it's the most beautiful part of being a digital nomad.
Yeah,
yes.
Such an important point. You gotta have trust in the world and in yourself that it all will be provided. There will be a chance for you to figure it out, and you also can figure it out.
Yeah. And you will learn. Even if things don't get figured out as you think they should, you will learn so much. You will meet so many people. You will find things about yourself that you didn't know before, like how brave you are, how difficult for you is to ask for help. And you will like have to go and get out of your comfort zone to do things that I think is beautiful and powerful to live like that. Not for everybody, of course, but I think it's a very interesting way
everybody can do it, just not everybody will choose to do it.
Yes,
that's
correct.
Right. So I'd like to switch gears a little bit to talk about what it is you do that, got me so curious also. You are an ASTRO coach. So how did you end up being an ASTRO coach?
Okay, that's a very interesting story. I'm going to try to make it short. So this is almost 10 years ago. I was studying psychology. I really like psychology, but I found that it didn't give me all the answers that I was looking for. And I was always very interested in this more spiritual, esoteric part of life. That was kind of my secret passion. And at the beginning, I thought there were no way that I will like combine both of them, because this is very scientific and this is very like woo-woo or whatever. But with time, especially like in the 2000s already, like I found a lot of teachers and books that people that were actually merging both things, and I felt inspired to do the same. And in that path, I found astrology as an amazing tool of self-discovery. First, it started with me. Like I found my natal chart, which we will talk a little bit more about what it is after that, but I found my natal chart, and I found like so many things make sense to me. And I found a roadmap for my own self-discovery and self-development there, that I started to do it to people. And everybody will tell me, oh, this is amazing, but how can I like use this information? That's a lot of information. I have my sun here and my moon there, but what do I do with this? And then I found out that I could combine that with my psychology and coaching tools, and help people to create a life that it's in synchronicity with their true essence. That's for me the most important part, to help people to find their light and to shine it into the world in any way they can.
And I think, on that, like, we connect really well as, coaches, helping people to, like, shine their light better. I do want to ask you about, one thing that I don't completely understand, like charts. I heard this word and from you and from many other people, but what is it exactly? Like,
Okay, so the natal chart in astrology is like officially is like the picture of the sky when you were born. So you had the planets in specific constellations and in different aspects to each other, and that creates what I call the seed of your potential. Right? So just as a plant has a seed that has all the information of how the plant is going to be, like the color and what type, you also have a seed of information for what you are here to do and to create as much as you can. The difference, of course, is that you have free will and a plant generally, from what we know, doesn't. So you can do different, amazing, multiple things with your potential. And the Astro Coaching sessions are helping you or are intended to help you to find that potential, to understand what it is, to understand how you shine, what are your shadow, what are your challenges, what are the things that you can do to improve your potential and to live a life that is more authentic, that doesn't have to be like everybody else. Because we have this idea of how success is, that everybody media told us how to be successful at when you're 35. For a woman in Peru, you have to have kids.
Yeah.
You have to like look in a certain way. You have to
I'm
have
a
a
total
husband.
failure.
And I was like, I don't want that. And it's fine if somebody that's their bliss. It's fine. But the natal chart helps you to be very like true to yourself and to find out what is that path of authentic success for you. And that's how I help people to be aware of that.
I guess it's like, taking a little bit of guesswork out of it and helping a person to understand, okay, these are the things that might work for you really well. Like, why don't you try that, right?
Yes.
And that's, I guess, what as a coach you do. You're like, okay, this is the data, and, from this data, I think that these things will work for you to, to help you to express yourself better, to find your path, etc.
Yes.
And probably as a coach, you then tell them, to do certain exercises or practices.
Yeah, for sure. That's very important for me, to be very practical, to be very grounded. I mean, I love spirituality and I love astrology, and I wanted to bring it to everybody. Like, you don't have to be like super woo-woo or meditate every day to feel that purpose or that connection or that magic. I think everybody has a way of finding that. Maybe for some people it's nature. Maybe for some people it's painting or art or music. For other people it's praying, like literally. And it's just, there's so many ways to connect with your power. And I think the thing is to be very like true to yourself, to be very authentic and genuine in your path. And that's when things really go well.
And I think, that's very important, having some sort of guidance. Like, I hear from a lot of people these days that, I don't know what I need to do, like, or, what my life is all about. For me, it was simpler just because as a kid I journaled a lot. I always did, like different experiments. I took the time to like explore all the different paths. But it took quite a while for me to understand, what am I like actually good at, what I love the most, what makes me happy, what makes me unhappy. And now I know those things, right? Like creativity. If I don't create something, I feel really not good.
Yes.
Sometimes it even feels like I'm getting sick or something. Yes. But for a lot of people, I understand, who don't take that time for one reason or the other, for them it's really hard, and they sometimes think like, is it something wrong?
Or let's say like your example, you're a Leo, I am too, and we were talking just before the interview how you were telling, oh, I really want to do this like podcast thing and like more like videos and stuff this year because that makes me come alive, right? And that is a very beautiful way of connecting with your Leo center, with your sun. But let's say that if you were a kid and you were very creative and you wanted to express yourself, but you were born in a family that is very constrained or that tells you don't make so much noise, or just like creativity is not allowed. Now let's imagine you may grow up feeling like that is not for you, or that you're not good at it, right? Because you didn't even have the opportunity to practice it. So I find a lot of people in the astro coaching sessions to find like, oh my God, that's how I felt. That's why I felt like this about this activity or about this world. And it kind of gives you permission to go and be yourself. And that's one of the most rewarding parts of being an astro coach, to find how people start to shine when they see, okay, I can do that. And they just, yes, of course, just go do that, because that's what makes you happy. And yes, that's what makes me happy. And you can go and do that and just be you, right? I think that's so important, just to be you. So simple, but it's so hard sometimes.
And that being you concept is basically like your purpose, why you're here. It connects you to that. And from all the data, for example, on longevity, as a health coach, I work a lot in those areas. Like, the data shows that people who have the strongest sense of purpose, they feel like they're living their purpose, they live the longest, even though they might not be perfect with their health routine and fitness routine, etc. But that just, purposeful living, it adds years of life and of health into people's lives.
Yeah, because we're beings of intention. I think that if you live with intention, not only, literally you have more life energy. Like, when you have an intention, a purpose, and it doesn't have to be, we were talking also before the interview, it doesn't have to be, oh my God, my purpose is to find a cure for cancer or something like that. It doesn't have to be, it has to be something that lights you up. Like, I just create things for people to laugh. That's my purpose. I just like helping people to find their vocation. That lights me up. Whatever. I just like you were telling, like being a mom, like your mother, like that lights you up, and find that and do it a lot. And that's when you're gonna be just happy.
Yeah, right? It's we're talking. My mom, when I talk to her, I notice that she feels it's her purpose to be there for us, for her family, to make us happy, right? And she also has to take care of herself. But if we are not happy and she can't do anything about it, that makes you really, really unhappy, right? Yes. And so her purpose, she never talks about that, but I feel like her purpose is, being there for her family.
And I think when you see somebody doing their thing, you just it's kind of contagious. Like, you feel like you want to do that too. I mean, not especially what they are doing, not specifically, but I want to eat what he's eating, or I want to what
are you, so good.
How are you doing that? I'm just being me. Okay, I want to be you. No, you want to be you. Yeah. That's the thing. You have to find yourself and do that. Do you?
And you as an astro coach, also you help people find that, find their you-ness, your uniqueness. What I have a question that I wrote down before our interviewer. A lot of people I know, like myself, probably have or had doubts about astrology. And, I used to think, it's probably about some science and horoscopes in newspaper. Is it really something I should trust or think about it, right? And so people have all of these doubts. But then, I thought to myself as a scientist, okay, why do I think that for example, moon moves tides and oceans, and we're humans, 70% water. Why do we think that it's not affecting us? It's affecting the whole planet, but we somehow start to consider ourselves separate, right? And that kind of eliminated doubts for me. And I'm like, there's probably something in it. So when people come to you with those kinds of doubts, is it really doing something, or is it just some woo-woo stuff? What do you say to those people?
It is a very important and I think very interesting question to do, and I think I was the first one to do it when I started, because I came from a background also of academic psychology. I was and how I'm gonna explain to my parents that I'm working with this that doesn't have any scientific background. And I think that the truth is that science doesn't have all the answers at this point, and that also there's this illusion of separation that I think kind of science contributed to that in the last couple of decades, that makes us feel very alone and very separate from life. just think about how our ancestors that live in nature, they will think that the mountains are gods, or that the ocean has life, and how that created a much more healthier psychology for them to be part of nature, or feel connected with everything. And astrology comes into that, because actually astrology is the most ancient psychology that we have. Like all the different cultures around the world, they had astrology in some way. The Vedics, the Aztecas, the Mayas, the Incas, they all have, like, they looked on the stars to find the reflections of themselves. And I don't think there's a way of, I'm going to bring a paper and read it to you to see, like, scientific papers say that astrology works like this 100% or whatever. But I do think that you just have to try it out. And just when you meditate and you don't understand why you feel better after meditating, and science is already catching up with why do you do that, or like eating certain foods or whatever, I think in some point, not so far, science is going to catch up of how it works. At this point, I'm just doing it before it happens, and I
Based
think
on
it
evidence.
Works. Yes, before evidence, but I just feel it works, and I see how it works.
No, I guess what I meant is like human evidence. You know, we notice things, and then we're like, okay, we notice it many times, so this is probably how it works, although we don't understand the mechanism, the way it works. And you reminded me, of this episode. Like a couple of days ago, I did a class about brain nutrition, how different foods make you, create different brain chemistry, and how that makes you feel different, and the different actions, right? How it's all connected. And there was one woman from Asian background. I think she was from Southeast Asia. And she said, well, like 1,000 years ago, people noticed in that region, and they wrote it down, that eating certain foods creates certain like tendencies or energies in a person. Like this is for food for heat, or, for like coolness. And they have like all these different words. And she's like, that's kind of like started to explain this thing to me. I'm like, yeah, science sometimes catches up later.
True. And it's true. I don't know even if it catch up later, because that was before science, right? I think we try to fit things to science because we want to feel validated.
Yeah.
That at least that happened to me, because I did a master in psychology, and part of me was like, oh my God, I'm going to come out of the closet as a witch or something, because people are going to think like, what is she doing? And that's part of being true to yourself. It's like, okay, I'm hurting anybody? No. I'm lying to people? No. If people want to come and see how it is, they will come. And if they benefit of it, I'm going to feel happy with it. And that's it, right? Because there's looking for validation. That has to be also with being a digital nomad, I think.
Yeah.
It's very important to break that. The addiction of approval, because if you're gonna leave your work or your family sometimes, or your origins, your country, some people are not gonna like you. Not gonna, and that's fine. That's actually part of being a brave person, I think. Yes.
Yeah, and I shared a little bit with you. Just wanted also to share a little bit with listeners, so they might be going through transitions to help them feel better. Like I think now I'm approaching my 35th birthday, and I feel like I haven't tapped in my potential. I felt in the moments like very almost like angry with myself or something. I'm like, I am not doing me. Even like for 10%. And I think the huge reason of that is looking for that approval, being accepted by certain people or certain standards, right? And breaking out of that, it's really, really hard. But you're like, what people gonna think about that? Will people like me who used to like me, etc.?
Will my mom like me?
Yeah, exactly. Although they already kind of decided that I'm a little bit out of this world. But that's back to that. Like you need to have that boldness, to just live in that uncertainty and create your own way.
And it's amazing because, from my perspective, this also another thing that I work with is you attract who you are, not what you want. You attract who you are. So if you are in this presence of authenticity and boldness to be yourself, believe me, it's guaranteed that you're going to find people that are in the same path with you. Maybe at the beginning you feel a little bit lonely because you have to separate yourself from certain people. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But believe me, people that are in the same vibes than you are, or the same consciousness that you are gonna come up like this, and you're gonna feel much better because you're not gonna have to be hiding parts of yourself to other people, right? Or looking for validation because you have yours.
Yeah, and it's already happening. Sometimes people actually tell me, "Oh, you're the kind of person who attracts interesting people." I'm like, well, yeah, because
Yes, of course, because you're being you.
yeah, exactly, and that's the most interesting part about any human being,
Yes.
from my perspective, and that's I think how we connected. Helping people to discover that potential that they have, that uniqueness
Totally.
that they have, and being able to express it, having the energy, the health and vitality.
And when you do it, you give other people permissions to do it too.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not even aware of it, but you're inspiring people. Just, she dares to do that. I'm gonna dare to do this.
Yeah.
Why not? She's alive. She survived.
Exactly. And that's, I think part of the validation. Like, you are helping other people by being yourself to be themselves.
Yes, I think
right?
that's the main purpose, to be yourself and to be in that like truth, authenticity, and from there other people are going to benefit just because you're happy.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also will try to help other people.
Yes.
And here I'd like to transition into that vitality part and health and lifestyle, right? Because when I saw you, you have a lot of energy. You do seem like you have a lot of vitality and meaning and everything. And I always, as a coach in my own niche of health, of fitness, of performance, I want to get back people a little bit to basics, because those basics, they're also very simple, what attracts me to that. And so I always try to kind of extract it from other people who are, like yourself, vital and energetic and
Thank
healthy
you.
and on purpose.
I really appreciate
I'm like,
that.
what it is you do that people can also do, and that is kind of common for a lot of people who are vital and energized and on purpose. What it is? What are your routines? Like, what are the tools that you do? What are your boundaries, non-negotiables? Every day, like, how do you structure it so you feel your best?
Okay, so I think I go a lot from the inside out, and one of my main non-negotiables is meditation, and I do different kind of meditations, mainly visualizations. Like, I'm not like into like blank space. I visualize things. I am very grateful. I have very interesting practices that I do, and I teach my clients to have to clean their energy and to get out of like negative emotions or not negative emotions. I think all emotions are good, but like negative feelings that are like charging you or like weighting you down. And that I think is a non-negotiable. I meditate every day. And if I don't do it one day, I try to like catch up very fast, because if not, I feel out of myself. And then in the well-being department, I try to exercise at least 3 times a week.
What do you do for exercise? Also, like on this podcast, we love details. So if you have like a favorite app, favorite exercise program, please share.
Awesome. So I am I used to be more into cardio, because I'm just like, want to like listen to a podcast and just run and just like get all pumped up by what I'm listening and my body. I think body and mind combined and so powerful. So I get a lot of insights when I'm listening to a podcast and I'm running or I'm in the elliptic. However, in the last year, I discovered that it's very important to do weight because strength and protein and all of that. So I started to do that. And I quietly enjoying it, very surprisingly, because I didn't like it before. I was like so bored of that.
Why did you start? I'm just curious.
Because I think when you are past your 30s, you start to worry less about being skinny and more about being strong. Because you start to thinking about the future, like I'm going to be 40 sometime or 50 sometimes, and I don't want to be just skinny and weak. I want to be like strong. And also there are a lot of research about how when you have like muscles, you have more longevity, energy. Even your brain works better. So I think I have to say I come from a background of having eating disorders when I was very young. So it was a long journey for me to well-being, because I was very obsessed with being skinny and just like depriving
A lot
myself
of women, I
of
think,
many things. Yes,
and if,
yes.
if we be honest, I also had, I don't know what you call disorder, but also like my relationship with food was complicated. So a lot of women do have, yeah.
Yes. So I think I went through a journey with food. And now I am very free about it. The only thing I don't eat because it doesn't go well with my body is red meat. I don't eat any red meat, but I do eat a little bit of chicken or fish. I try to go with organic things too, as much as I can. A lot of greens, a lot of nuts, a lot of. I don't do milk because I don't like it, not because it's bad. I don't know, but I don't like it. I do like. Not regular milk, like almond milk or things like that. What else? Vitamins. I do a lot of supplements. I supplement myself a lot with. Right now, I'm very much into lion mane. I don't know if
I love
you've heard.
it.
I'm
Yes.
very much into
The brainy
that.
mushroom.
Yes, it's awesome. It's awesome. I also like moringa. It's a really good one. Vitamin C, of course. And I do drink some protein shakes after working out and stuff like that. And I think that, and basically just being like positive in general, trying to like stay in positive thoughts and being happy.
Yeah, wanted to dig a little bit deeper, into your nutrition and nomadic lifestyle. Like a lot of people who start traveling and living this location-independent lifestyle, they sometimes find it harder to maintain, like, for example, eating habits or exercise habits. Do you have any tips or advice or maybe tools that you yourself, like, learn, lessons? Like, how do you maintain in being in different places?
Yes, for sure. Don't get attached to form. Like, if you get attached to the gym that you're going in your city, you're not going to be able to be a nomad because then you're going to say, no, I'm not going to be able to work out if I'm traveling. And like, yes, you can. Because there are beaches, there are parks, there are like the hotel room. Like, you can do a lot of like work with your own body. And I try to do that. Like, when I'm traveling, if I don't have a gym where I am, I try to like just go with my own weight and just like push-ups and stuff like that. It's not about being perfect. For me at least, I'm not obsessed with having the perfect workout every day. No, it's just move your body, train a little bit, feel like you're like, you sweated, and you're gonna feel better. That's at least for me. I'm not super like ambitious with my goals in that department yet. I just want to feel active and energetic and having like this feeling of well-being in general, and knowing that I'm taking care of myself, and that I think that's a big part.
What about foods? Do you have any specific like tips here? Like, do you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, or like what kind of things?
I do fasting. I am into intermittent fasting. From Monday to almost every day, because actually I never was a breakfast person. I never woke up feeling hungry, so I did it because it was like told me to do. Like, you have to have 3 meals, or you have to like what was it, like you have to level up your metabolism by eating like 5 times a day. And it didn't work for me because I felt sick and tired almost all the time. I discovered that personally when I fast, I feel much more energy, and it's very good for people that have had problems like I did with food, because I was very obsessed with what to eat and blah blah. And when you're fasting, you just like cut that out. You don't have to worry about it. You just know that you're gonna have some time to eat, and you go and eat delicious food that you like. Of course, you have to choose your food in a smart way, no? Because you are not eating part of the day, so you have to nurture yourself well. And also, I think just because of habit, I tend to like healthy food. I'm not into a junk food. I'm not a junk food person. Maybe a little bit like ice creams and things like that sometimes. But I think 80% of the time I'm good.
With travels, like, do you find it difficult to eat what you like to eat? Like, a lot of people worry that, or I'm gonna go to this like new country, I don't know, to Mexico or Bali or whatever. Like, what am I gonna eat there, right? What's your maybe advice on that? Like, when you change places?
I think in every place that you go, there are people that eat healthy.
Find those
people and find what they are eating, because if you are, I don't know, into blueberries, and you go to a country that doesn't have blueberries, you're not gonna go crazy basic. Go eat what they have,
Yeah.
and in that way also you find very amazing and interesting cultures and food from there that you can like if you go to Peru, you have all these beautiful superfoods that you've never seen in your life. Or if you go to Argentina, I was in Argentina recently. Yes, I mean, like, for me, if they have coffee, I'm fine because that's my only thing. I do drink a lot of coffee. But yes, for me, like, it's just a matter of being flexible and not get attached to a way. Like, I have that with my partner. My partner tends to be more like attached to, no, I'm not gonna be able to like drink my protein. I'm like, don't drink the protein. Let's go eat something that has protein and that will, you know, like replace it, and it's fine. I mean, it's not the end of the world.
I think, what I'm hearing is like, have your kind of principles, like move your body, like so many times a week. Like, when you eat. These are the foods that make you feel
Super
good,
simple.
Yeah, and I think the more simple you keep, the more flexible you can be.
The more simple you are about those things, the less energy you waste trying to control them. And like, for me, that's very important, because coming from an eating disorder, when I was very obsessed and perfectionist, I had to drop that. Because it was like literally killing me. So for me, as a mental health exercise, I try to put like very simple rules and just leave it. And of course, I improve myself. Like, I started to do weights, or sometimes I bring some new vitamins or whatever. Yes, but not from this place of you have to do it. If not, it's wrong. Because I don't think that works for many people.
Yeah, it's from a place like, these things make me feel good, so let me figure out. Yeah, the same like for me. I'm a nutritionist, and people think like I'm probably like weighing down all of my portions. I'm actually pretty like simple. I love fruit and yogurt for breakfast. For dinner, I love a lot of vegetables, a lot of protein, and as much variety as possible. That's it. And
yes,
that makes me feel good. That's the first kind of thing, and that's
listen
it.
to your body also. Like, sometimes, like I was telling you, I sometimes when I go out, I drink a beer or something like that, and I was starting to do it very often because we live in Playa. There's a lot of opportunities to drink, and I was like, I figured out, I'm drinking a little bit too much, like every other day. So I decided to stop, and like I'm almost like 2 weeks no drinking alcohol. It's not like I'm gonna quit it, but I just like to experiment with myself and take care of myself without being restrictive. I think that's very important.
Yeah, and running those experiments and listening to you, I think, is very important to finally figure out, what it works for you. Like, for example, today I started an experiment. I'm like, let me try decaf instead of caffeinated coffee. See what happens, because they say like like caffeinated coffee kind of works negatively on your serotonin, makes you not as maybe happy. I'm like, yeah, let me try that. So I'm trying this today. I'm like, I don't feel a difference. No, yeah, and I'm like, I feel happy. I don't feel a difference. Maybe I shouldn't drink coffee, for a while. So and that's I think important to have this approach, like also to have this like boldness. Okay, well, this might be not a perfect thing for someone, but for me it works.
Yeah, not judgment. I think to live a life with no judging anybody's or yourself for what you're doing, but more like being curious. Oh, okay, like you say, no, like I'm gonna take this out and see how my body responds. And that's very important, to listen to your body, like to be connected with what makes you come alive, with food, with thoughts, with actions, with everything. I think that's a very important question.
But here a lot of people would ask, like, just because I heard this question a lot, how do I kind of develop this connection to self to be able to feel those things, what are right for me, what are wrong for me? We also live in this world like constant, notifications and all this stuff coming at us, and sometimes it's just hard to listen to that. Like, do you have, specifically, I'm looking for practices that people might do every day to develop that?
Yeah, it makes me laugh, because people, like, of course, I say, listen to your body. My body is telling me to eat pizza.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't think so. Yes, I think it's not easy. I mean, sometimes when you are having already have an experience with this for a long time, it makes you sound like it's easy, but it's not. Of course, you have to develop a practice of listening to your body. For me, that came. A lot of people have other experiences, but for me, that came from meditation, like from when you are there with your body and you are in silence or just concentrating in one thing and trying to visualize something, you figure out that your body doesn't respond the same in different, depending on what you're eating or your habits and how much you sleep. So if that's like the example that I put, like with alcohol, I was like meditating in the morning and feeling a little bit like down, and I was like, I think this is because of the wine that I drank last night. So it's just like my body was telling me, please stop a little bit, like just a break. And I listen and I feel amazing. So it's just a matter of finding a practice, even if you don't want to meditate, just like stop and feel like what wakes you up and what weighs you down. And from there, you will start to be more conscious. Also, I think it's very important to take out anything that is potentially addictive at the beginning, like sugar, sometimes coffee, of course alcohol, of course cigarettes. All of that is like your body is trapped in that. So your body don't have the potential to tell you what it needs if it's trapped in a bad habit also. And you know this because your brain
yeah, I actually wanted to add sometimes some substances, when human beings refine them, like a lot of caffeine or a lot of sugar, they actually hijack the brain and they stimulate it in a way that no other natural substance would, and they gives you like a lot of pleasure to your brain. And it's like a very powerful cocktail of emotions, and your brain think, oh, this is so good. But then at that point, the brain just doesn't think long term. It's like that just what gives you pleasure. And it's only, again, happened because we humans, we refined, developed a lot of those things that...
I do think that when you go through a process of, for me, just like I was saying, for like meditation, you just naturally start to feel like your intuition tells you, this is not me. This is probably caffeine. This is probably alcohol. This is probably weed, whatever I consumed. And it's not like any of those things are bad in itself. It's just like, if this is stopping me or this is helping me to go after the life I want to create. I think that's the only thing that matters at the end. If this is helping me to create the life I want for myself, if it's not, let's regulate it a bit or just like take it out for a while. Because the most important part is that your body serves you to create a life that you want to create. That's the most important reason why you have a body, right?
Yeah, and I think that's very important, point that you mentioned, that is the ultimate goal. Like when you're trying something, or you're in communication with someone or something, like, is it serving me or the vision for the life I have? And, people then sometimes ask, like, how do I know if it's serving or not? But, based on your past experience and where you are today and what you did before, like, how's it working for you? In coaching world, this is our favorite question. Okay, you're doing this thing, how is it working for you? Are you satisfied with the result? If yes, keep doing. If not, do something else, right? And so I think, that's very a cool thing that people can use to figure out, what should they consume less of or more of.
Yes, sure. I think there's people that are more bound to experiment, especially if you're traveling. You want to eat, you want to drink, you want to have different experiences. And you can't do that if you are so concerned, no, I have to be vegan extra or I have to be just keto. It's just going to be, unless it serves you, that is going to create a lot of stress for you. And it's not really necessary, at least I don't think so, unless you feel it's really working out for you and helping you to create a life you love. Right?
Yeah. That's, I think, the key theme, the life that you love, what helps you to do that, just do more of that.
I think that's where you have to begin to figure out what would be a life that I would love.
And that's where you can help kind of also shortcut the journey. Okay. In the world of ultimate limitless possibilities, it seems that these are the things that you might try first.
Yes.
That's why
that's the beautiful part of astrology. It's like a map, but you are the territory, So I just give you the map, but then you have to walk the path and figure it out how that works for you.
That's beautiful. So many beautiful insights for people to use, especially people who are nomads, who now might be working remotely, distributed, kind of in this transition phase. So many lessons here. And I wanted to I wanted to ask you actually a couple more things about. I wanted to ask you about sleep and priorities. So to those things, maybe first priorities. Like how a lot of people who start their nomadic journey or remote work journey, they having troubles separating work and life, setting boundaries for when do I do work, when do I do leisure, when I go on adventures, when I wake up, when I go to bed. Like how do you approach that? Like, how do you manage your time,
I
work,
think
adventures?
that's an interesting question, and I have to be very humble about it. But because I'm still figuring out, I tend to be very workaholic because I love my job and I do so many things at the same time. I create content. I just transitioned to English, so I have a new thing in English, but I do have all these things in Spanish too. So I do a lot, and because I love what I do. Sometimes I kind of confused when I'm working and when I'm just like having leisure, right? But I have to say that I think the most important part is relationships, because there was a time in my life when I started that all my human contact was with clients, and at the end of the day I felt so alone, and I was depriving my personal relationships from me, and that didn't feel good. So I think that relationships, at least for me, in this moment, are a priority. My relationship with my partner, my relationship with my friends, calling my mom every other day, just to not forget you are a human and you need human contacts and connection. And also, like, just figure out things that you can do to recreate yourself. Recreate yourself out of what you commonly do. Like, let's say maybe you work a lot with fitness and food, and but maybe to recreate yourself, you go to walk into nature or you go and paint something. You know, that's very important for me, to find ways that you can recreate, get out of whatever you do most of the time, and then when you come back, you will have a fresh mind about it. And then after, like, I just have like I have a schedule. I mean, I made out my schedule and it works for me. I work in the morning mainly. The afternoon, I see clients. And in the night, I'm out. Like, I'm not a night person. So at the end of the day, I'm very tired. And I tend to just have dinner with my partner, watch maybe not TV, my Netflix or whatever, something like that, or read a book. And then I fell asleep very easily. I am a very easy sleeper. That's also a blessing. Right?
So what I hear is, like, you have your priorities. You know what kind of needs to get done, and you set your schedule so you attend to all the things that are important.
Yes.
And then you constantly, obviously, like, listen to yourself. You know, is it working? Do I need something else?
Never perfect. Yeah. Like, I could definitely improve a lot of things in my schedule. Sometimes I like put on my day like 10 things to do in the morning, and then I when I'm in the middle, say, why would I put this in my schedule? It's too many things. I have to stop and put this on the other day. But I try to be not so harsh with myself and just like figure out. Some days you have more energy. Sometimes you don't. You just I think listening to the journey too. But yes, my tip will be, do create yourself a schedule that works for you. If you're more like a night person, put the things on night, and during the day do things that creates pleasure for you, or that recreate you, and work during the night. Don't try to force yourself to what others tell you have to do. Just find thing that works for you and try to make it work.
Yeah, that's an amazing piece of advice that I think we kind of can start concluding our episode. We've been talking a lot already, and so much interesting stuff. I'm so excited that we got to talk and record this conversation. Again, if you have any parting advice, tips that you didn't mention and you believe it's important, you can mention them now from whichever area you.
Yes, I would love to recommend people that want to start their digital nomad, or just like maybe playing with the idea, to start by the vision of the life they want to create. And a really beautiful creative way that you can do that is to do a vision board. Maybe you already heard of this, right?
Yes.
You just like
we all heard of it.
Just have your vision board and start to like visualize yourself every day having that life. and say thank you, universe, life, whatever you believe in. Thank you for bringing this to me. Thank you because I am free. Thank you for because I'm abundant. Thank you because I have this amazing life, as if it was already here. Because when you do that, you're creating the vibration in your body that will allow you to find the opportunities to create that life. And that really, it worked for me, and I think it worked for all my clients when they do it. And it's just so fun and just creative. So yeah, I will recommend people to do that.
To add on this exercise, a little bit of science, it actually also works because you give, the brain is a goal-seeking device. And when you give your brain a vision, you give it a goal, and it actually starts to filter out stuff that is unnecessary and, bring you the stuff, so you pay attention to the stuff that matters to that goal, helping you to achieve that, right? So vision boards work, and they are based on actually neuroscience research. So thank you for giving that advice.
Yes, visualization, vision board, anything that gives you vision and intention. And yes, I think what you said, like you demand your brain to look for things, and it will serve you.
And also about your work, where can people connect with you? Maybe, I don't know, sign up for a session or something. Read your work. What are a few best sources? And we're going to link all of them in the show notes. So.
Yes, so I just literally transitioned my Instagram to English. It's just brand new. It was personal before, so if you go into it, you're going to find a lot of things in Spanish, but I'm already like 3 posts in English. And there you have a link tree that have all the information for my services. You can also subscribe to my newsletter that I'm like, they're like newsletter from the cosmos. So if you want astro updates and inspiration, you can get it there. And it's arroba, how do you say arroba? Esencia by Mariana.
Yeah, we'll link it, so.
See, you will link it, and it will be there. Yes, and yeah.
Is this like, so you recommend Instagram is the best way to find you, basically?
Right now, yes.
Cool.
Yes. And yeah, there you can send me an email from the contact that you will find there. Yes.
Sounds good. I highly recommend to contact Mariana to give you, especially if in this transitional time you are a little bit lost, unsure, like I'm sure a lot of us are, and you would like a little bit of more guidance, shortcuts, so you don't spend and waste that much time and energy on that. So contact Mariana.
Yeah, it's very helpful to plan out even when you want to start and things like that, because it gives you a lot of the energy that is available for you. So I think it can be a lot of service for people that want to start their journey.
Yes. So contact Mariana. And Mariana, thank you so much for being such an amazing guest. You're right. I'm sure listeners would re-listen to this episode. So thank you for sharing your story and living your story, choosing to live your own life in your own way. So thank you. And I also would like to thank our sponsors, Fifth Avenue Sounds here in Playa del Carmen. I think the only professional studio where you can do such awesome fun things as recording podcasts, record audiobook. That's what I'm going to do very soon. And a lot of other fun projects that you can come up with. So check them out, Fifth Avenue Sounds. And that was Fit and Focus for Remote Work and Digital Nomads. And you'll hear from me very soon.